Greetings, and welcome back to Dystopia today. So in this video I'm going to be discussing the God aspect that is present in all dystopian societies. Now, when you think of the God of America, you probably think of the literal God, as in Father, Son, Holy Ghost, bearded man in the sky. Yeah? But this infograph from Pew Research says differently, showing a significant increase in the percentage of the population who don't believe in God. What do we as a society devote our entire lives to? Ding ding ding! You got it! When you actually stop to think about money, it's literally just a processed piece of paper that our government stamps a number on and a dead guy's face. Most of the population can't even name all the dead guys' faces featured in our money, yet it still plays such an overwhelming role in the way our society functions as a whole and how individuals go about living their lives. We're conditioned to believe that in order to survive and be successful, we need money. In my previous video, I talked about the Great Recession of 2008, which resulted in the collapse of the job market and an extreme increase in college tuition costs. Anyone either planning on entering the workforce or going to college ends up being trapped in a never-ending cycle of money, which can only Anyone either planning on entering the workforce or going to college ends up being trapped in a never-ending cycle of money. You have to have money to go to college, so you can get a degree, which ideally will get you more money because it'll help you get a job. And hopefully that money will eventually compensate for how much you had to pay for college. It takes the average American 10 years to pay off student loans, because the average American can't readily pay for college out of pocket. 1% of the population holds 40% of the nation's wealth, and the bottom 80% only holds 7% of the nation's wealth. To make a long story short, the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. Obviously, the people in the top 10% have no problem being able to go to college. That's why they are able to maintain in the top 10%, while the bottom 10% are just trying to scrape by on a measly $7.25 an hour. Shifting gears a little bit here to talk about global warming, but you'll see how it ties in. Just this week in my geography class, we were talking about global warming and how it's an issue that we really shouldn't be ignoring. This graph here clearly demonstrates how global temperatures have been increasing since the 1970s, with the primary cause being greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases include methane, CO2, nitrous oxides, ozone, etc. America leads the nation in how much CO2 we emit, producing 27% of the world's total emissions. Approximately 13% of the world's oil reserves are located under the polar ice caps, which are melting due to global warming. The American government is fighting to be first in line to stake claims to these oil reserves. As previously mentioned, America leads the nation in greenhouse gas emission, which, like I said, are the primary cause of global warming and the melting of the polar ice caps. Do you see the connection? Is this purely coincidence, or rather the plan all along? Just some food for thought. The most daunting thing about America and global warming is the fact that even though there is concrete evidence supporting the conclusion that global temperatures have been rising, over 150 state representatives, including presidential hopeful Marco Rubio, denied that it is an issue that needs to be dealt with. The Associated Press, a prominent news outlet from New York, instructs its writers not to refer to those who deny climate change as deniers and skeptics, but to refer to them as doubters. Now, referring to them as doubters implies that they have other scientific research to dispute climate change, which is absolute crap. 97% of scientists agree that global warming is a significant issue, and the fact that they're siding with the 3% of scientists that says it isn't is completely illogical. It doesn't make any sense. With prominent news influences and politicians denying that global warming is even a thing, when it clearly is an example of the government restricting information. In short, America leads the world in global climate change and emissions that cause global climate change. We're being influenced to believe that we are not killing the planet, so our government can make money off oil production. Our knowledge is being restricted by the media, and it's dehumanizing. We are being manipulated to ignore really important issues going on in our world. Not only are we being pushed to deny climate change, but we're also being pushed to deny acts of social injustice within our country. One of the most prominent social movements going on today is Black Lives Matter. After the incidents involving Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, and the shooting of the church in Charleston, which resulted in the death of 9 black individuals, Black America, is in a state of protest. And with good reason. I feel like incidences refers to them as a number, and just simply a number, and not really associating a person with that number. With the introduction of Black Lives Matter into the civil justice movement, some people felt offended by this statement. And if you're wondering why that doesn't make sense, it really doesn't. They were whining that they don't feel included in this movement, and that it should be referred to as all lives matter. And yes, I agree with that statement. All lives do matter. But guess what? This specific issue is not about you. During Katrina, the majority of the American population did not face the same kind of disparity that the victims in Louisiana did. And just because people in America couldn't relate to the people in Louisiana, it doesn't mean that they didn't stop showing support for them. Like, oh, well, your house floated away, but my house didn't float away, so I don't really know how you're feeling, so I'm not gonna help you because your problem isn't my problem. It's essentially what you're saying. And in order to make it my problem, it's like, well, maybe all hurricane victims matter. Like, it rained a lot, and a tree branch fell on my house, and I had to climb up there and get it down. Like, that's essentially what you're equating it to by saying all lives matter. So it's the same principle. Black Lives Matter is about recognizing that there is still injustice in our country that needs to be addressed, or else it'll keep getting swept under the rug. In America, we sell our souls to tinted green paper and are conditioned to believe that the blinders put over our eyes are put there for the greater good, without actually educating ourselves on what we aren't seeing and understanding. This video, which is where I got my statistics about wealth inequality, brings up the importance of thinking. We need to put efforts towards considering what is actually going on in our society, and realize that we have a lot more problems that aren't being brought up. If our generations continue to be influenced by this blind following of consumerism and ignorance, we will spiral deeper and deeper into the heart of dystopia. If you guys are interested in the concepts of money that I was getting into, you can go to this video below. He also has numerous other videos talking about different concepts that are very interesting and are alternative ways of thinking that you don't necessarily delve into in everyday life. So I highly suggest going and checking him out. This is not like promotion for him or anything. I personally really enjoy watching his videos, and I'd like to share them with you guys. So, thank you.